The Great Debaters Contest 2016 registration is now open. Teachers or school administrations should register on www.greatdebaterscontest.com/register.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to what I believe to be the greatest show in the world. This is the Great Debaters Contest, pitch camp at Kakamega, and I am Austin Nyumbok.
And I am Mariam Bishar. It's a pleasure to welcome you to the show. We have an all-gentlemen affair with Butula boys going versus Musingu boys, and they are debating on whether Kenyan tourism has slumped due to environmental degradation. We'll let the debaters take the stage now. Proposal number 1, you have 3 minutes.
Attention, attention, attention. They call me Joseph Mbogo, paracetamol from Musingu High School, a school which produces high-profile personalities like the one affecting an air of objectivity now. I implicitly support this motion which goes, Kenyan tourism has slumped due to environmental degradation. Let me start by defining terms for clarity. Tourism is traveling of people from one place to another for the purpose of leisure or enjoyment. Slump means to fall in price, value, or number suddenly by large amounts. While degradation of the environment means it's a process by which the environment is damaged or made worse. On to my first point. Human encroachment. These are causes of environmental degradation which has really slammed down the Kenyan tourism. Ladies and gentlemen, a feature in the Daily Nation of July 20th, 2016 reports that River Mara ever dried up because of human degradation in 2009, where settlements, and this was because of human encroachment, where settlements in form of slums and farming activities were seen along the river. This is a river which attracted many tourists to this country. And also, is a river which attracted the tourists to the country due to its spectacular migration of thousands of wild beasts to and from Kenya, to Tanzania from Kenya and back. This brought down the number of tourists who came in the country from 187,300 to 138,200 to 102,000 tourists in 2010, 2011, and 2012, respectively. Ladies and gentlemen, when people get into the parks and cut down the vegetation, it greatly reduces the land occupied by wildlife, and hence displacement of wild animals, thus decline to the Kenyan tourism. On to my point 2. Infrastructural development. Infrastructural development requires land, and yet it is limited nowadays in this country. For instance, the construction of the standard gauge railway that is currently underway will claim a part of Nairobi National Park. This calls for the displacement of wild animals to areas which might favor the animals, which might not favor the animal survival, leading to their death. Look at the roads and the tracks being built in the game parks to facilitate for the movement of tourists.
Opposition, you have 3 minutes to make your opening statements.
There is Otieno Gilbert Collins from Butula School here to oppose the motion that says that Kenyan tourism has slumped down or rather thwarted due to environmental degradation. Environmental degradation is the deterioration of the environment through the destruction of or rather the reduction of some resources such as water, soil, and air. Tourism is the act of traveling from one place to another with an aim of accommodation or other pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, we have some serious measures that unless taken into an account, if we continue concentrating on some miniature things like environmental degradation, it will never happen. Look at something like terrorism. Terrorism is now a menace in this country. And that is why when we had the Westgate attack That was in September 2013. A number of countries offered travel advisories to their citizens, in that they told their citizens that dare you travel to Kenya, that is not safe, we will not account for it. Why should we continue pretending that environmental degradation is the one that is causing this when we still have aspects like terrorism? I'm also talking about the travel advisories. These are things that have affected our country in most of the times. Remember the other time the US country offered travel advisories to its citizens and they were not able to come to Kenya, and as a result we had a reduction of the number of Europeans coming to Kenya from that nation. Someone is talking about infrastructure affecting tourism. How can that one happen? Remember that even the tourists that we need in this country, those tourists have to have a good road for them to travel to, or rather access the tourist sites. Are they bad to fly to the tourist attraction sites? No, they need to travel. And anyway, travel and reach when they still have energy, to see our animals. Ladies and gentlemen, our dear audience, is not a matter of coming up with something that you propose, you think that is right. No. Remember Mother Teresa once said that if you go in a dark room, don't complain about the darkness that is in the room, but ask your friends ask the friends that have accompanied you, that you lit your candle, you lit your candle, you lit your candle, and the room will be well lit. Why should we complain about something that is very small like environmental degradation? Don't we have the measures to curb it? But who knows when we will be attacked? Who knows when our country will be attacked? Thank you, and our dear proposers, you'll join us as early as possible, and I'm even ready to sit down for you to have the seats, but on the opposition side. Thank you.
We'll hear cross-examinations. Proposers, you have 3 minutes.
My friend, when we talk about terrorism, this is a factor that has started recently. We are talking about something that has caused the thumping of this sector over years. That point, my friend, is not well enough to convince us. Let us talk about something known as water pollution. In 2016, a news from NBC showed us that a tanker from Japanese spilled 1.4 million gallons of crude oil in the Indian Ocean. This killed a lot of marine life in our Indian Ocean. This killed a lot of marine life in our Indian Ocean, such as the turtle. This has caused the reduce of tourism in our country in the sector of marine. Let us talk about something called deforestation. Deforestation is the cutting down of trees. A research done by the Green African Foundation recorded that Kenya loses 5.6 million trees each day. This is an astonishing number. This is a very astonishing number. An endangered forest is the Kakamega forest. This forest is well known for its hosting of the green snake, of the flying snakes, well known as the egg snakes. The depletion of this forest has resulted into the dying or migrating of the snakes. So this factor has led to tourism slumping down due to the deforestation. Another point is global warming. My friend, when we talk about global warming, we are talking about increased temperatures in our country. The Daily Nation of 4th April 2016 showed us a research carried by the heritage and marine expert warning about the erosion of Fort Jesus, which has been caused by the waves at the coast. What are these waves? These waves are caused by increased temperatures due to global warming. The government needs 100 million for the repair of the Fort Jesus, but the government does not have. We are at risk of losing our Fort Jesus, which is a great tourist attraction in our country. My friends, let us talk about something that it is valid, something that we can tell the government, this is what is causing the slumping of tourism in our country. I would like you to join us in saying that the tourism sector has slumped due to environmental factors and not other factors like terrorism. Thank you.
Opposition, you have 3 minutes to give your rebuttal.
Allow me to begin by saying that forests may change, but the monkeys are the very same who will never change. Those are the words of Professor PLO Lumumba of this country. And the question is, if the monkeys are not changing, and I want to see the monkeys, what will stop me from going there? I will go. Another thing that I must tell you, that somebody is complaining about the land. Go and ask the Dutch very well, because they do say that God made Netherlands, but the Dutch made Holland. Kenya, we are bright people. We can create land. No problem with that. Point number one, as I'm going. King Leo V of the France said in French that ex nihil nihilo fit, that environment is not connected with the visitors that are coming here. Let's modify other factors and the visitors will come to France. Point number one, why I'm here to oppose this motion, is cultural practices. In the near past, we had different cultural practices where the Mijikenda, the coast, used to twist their waist. The Luyas, we are known for this. And even other people, the Maasai, are known for jumping. But today, if you attend the Mulembe night or even the Luo nights, people have adopted other means of dancing where they keep on dabbing without knowing that this is a method of dancing that was invented by the US prisoners. So it is a matter of cultural practices. It's not a matter of the environment. Point number two. It is publicity. Yesterday, me personally, I did the research at the Crying Stone of Kakamega. And I found only 2 people who are working there. And I asked them, what is wrong? Why are tourists not coming? And they say that this thing is not known worldwide. A research by the US, by the Oxford Press, says clearly that immediately the publicists invented that we are having Masai Mara, and they referred to it as the seventh wonder of the world. Many people started coming in those areas. So let us tell people that it is not a matter of environment. Let us look at a modified way of publicizing what we have. Point number 2 is about diseases. Last year on 10th August, the Citizen TV of Tanzania, we are having there the China. They were speaking one word that immediately after the Dr. John Coase announced, and he compared the probability of dying from a tree landing on your head and the probability of coming to Africa without contracting Ebola is one and the same. The tourists in that country reduced from 67 to 45%. Go and ask more about the Citizen TV of the Tanzania. Another thing is poor infrastructure. Last year when people attended the annual Jamboree South Africa of the UN, the president of Egypt was asked, why is it that today your economy is reducing? He said clearly that after the shipwrecks at Lampedusa, up there at the Egypt, is when the problem started coming. They don't have a good infrastructure, and there is no shortage in that if we compare to the roads to Masai Mara. So let us modify our infrastructures, and people will come here, many, and see our wildlife. Thank you very much.
The Great Debaters Contest 2016 registration is now open. Teachers or school administrations should register on www.greatdebaterscontest.com/register. The Great Debaters Contest 2016 registration is now open. Teachers or school administrations should register on www.greatdebaterscontest.com/register.
Thank you, audience. The proposers have been asked whether it is environmental degradation that is causing the slump in tourism or its political instability, given that in 2008 we recorded a new low for the number of tourists coming into the country. And the opposition have been asked if they deny that environmental degradation is causing a slump in tourism, does that mean that we should continue degrading our environment? We'll have them respond. Proposer number 3, you have 3 minutes.
Sandy beaches, warm climate, historical sites, and wildlife. Kenya has very many tourist destination sites. Very many. Our Kenyan tourist is very high. In fact, the highest in Eastern Africa. Muhanda Maxwell Musingu High School, ready to propose this motion. On to the question. Political instability. Yes, it has hindered our tourism, but very few. Let's compare to France. France, there was terror attack in France, but it only was for a a few moments, and it is understandable because the world is normal. We are faced by challenges. So political instability cannot be the main cause to our terrorism being deteriorated. To my points, overpopulation. In our country, Kenya, we are overpopulated. Census carried out in 1960, we were at 6 million. But in 2010, we are at 40 million, meaning the carrier capacity of this land cannot support the population of Kenyans, plus the rising population of our wildlife. In that, there was a lion. A lion escaped from the Nairobi National Park. This lion was killed after it was found, meaning that after the animal, the root cause of this animal escaping from this park was researched by the African National Geographical Research Societies. And they found out that the animal had escaped due to human encroachment in the Nairobi National Park. Humans had begun construction in the Nairobi National Park, which the KWS was aware. So due to population, meaning that was one lion which was killed. In Olpejeta Conservation in Laikipia County, we have 3 endangered species of the northern white rhinos, assuming one of them was killed because it invaded on our land. Once an animal invades this land, automatically it has to be killed because it may cause havoc and havoc may wreak to the society. To my second point, destruction of water catchment areas. On KTN media, a Kalenjin leader in 2008 stated that rain comes from God. Yet geographically, it is understood that rain comes from the forest. Forests are water catchment areas for rain. So when we cut down our forest, we prevent our water catchment areas. That is what led to the drying of the Mara River. And Mara River is the river that that holds the spectacular 7 wonders of the world, that being the wildebeest migration. If our wildebeest do not migrate, our tourists won't come. Hence, our tourism will be deteriorated. So I believe that environmental degradation is the main cause to our tourism sector. Lastly, forest fires. This year, Sururu Forest went down in flames. Over 10,000 species of trees were jotted down in flames. This Sururu Forest is a home for monkeys. Most monkeys and endangered species of trees are found in Sururu Forest, and they were jotted down, leading to our tourists to deteriorate. Thank you.
Opposition, you have 3 minutes to respond to the audience.
Welcome to the world of answers. I am Samuel Okoth from Butula School. Now, a great Latin man said, cogito ergo sum, we think for, there we are. Who in his right common senses can think of degrading the environment? We are just saying that environmental degradation is not a factor to tourism, to the slumping of tourism. What is the main factor to tourism in Kenya is poor relation, because in 2011, we registered the highest number of tourists in Kenya ever, at 1,265,000 tourists in Kenya. This was because of the conferences we had at Nairobi. And I want to tell you that Rain Rescue says that as the tree is inclined, so the twig will bend. Of late, you can see that we have not had good relation with the outside countries. And that is why we had a slump in our tourism, not environmental degradation. Another thing, in 2008, it was political instability that led to the slumping of tourism. It is very clear that the reason why we registered the lowest number of tourists ever in Kenya was because of political instability. Now, last year I went to Mitatini in Machakos. I was with my father, and I decided to take a short call. When I went outside, I had a bottle of water, and I poured the water down. To my shock, the water went up. I cried, God, why does this world have to end today while I'm in Machakos? I wanted it to end while I was in the church. But my father told me, sir, don't worry. No, this place was invented by John Wagner in the year 1956. The law of gravity is not obeyed there. When you pour water, it goes up. How many of you know that? How many of you know that?
That is not environmental degradation. We have neglected Machakos. I almost thought that it was some witchcraft, but it was something that was invested. We should not neglect counties like Machakos. We have wonders in Garissa. How many of you know that near the university, there is a place that the sand, nobody puts it there. You can scoop the sand today, and all of it get exhausted by today. But tomorrow when you come back, there will be full of sand at that place. How many of you know that? We are neglecting Garissa. We are neglecting Machakos. That is not environmental degradation. I want to tell you another factor that has led to the slumping of tourism in Kenya is technology. It has changed the world into a small village. A program called Natgeo World. Those of you who have these digital migrations assets like GoTV, DSTV, you can see these wild animals from your house. Now that is why most of the tourism will prefer to stay in their countries and see it. One thing we should be doing is publicize this thing in a way that somebody will be anxious to see it. I am sure today, if you publicize Garissa, if you publicize Machakos in the Natgeo world, and tell people that there is wonder in Machakos, then Kenya, we will go back to 2011, where the tourism sector and the country, 97.9 billion, and that is the highest number of revenue we have ever collected from tourism. And from that time, there was no environmental degradation. There was nothing like degrading the environment, but we received 97.9 billion. So I want to tell you on this stage that environmental degradation is not a factor that is leading to the slumping of tourism. What we know is that environmental degradation can never slump tourism in Kenya, because we can see clearly that these factors that we have stated are the true factors that these tourists are not coming to Kenya. So let's do this. Let's get back to our feet. Think just like the Latin man said, and publicize and have good relations and be politically stable, and we will see the tourism flowing into Kenya like rain. Thank you. God bless you.
We'll hear closing submissions. Proposers, you have 1 minute.
Ladies and gentlemen, destroying our environment is like cutting the hands that feed us. And I want to put this clearly to the few opposers in the House, that you have to shift from this side to the other side, because our environment is a very crucial factor that when we affect or when we destroy it, tourists won't come in this nation. And this is a humble appeal to all of you, or to the few of you who are opposing this motion, that if tourists come to this country and we claim that they are coming to tour our country, what are they coming to tour? When our environment has been spoiled, we have destroyed, we have cut down all the trees. Kenyans, let us be very, very watchful on this motion that environmental degradation is the main cause that is affecting the Kenya tourism today. Thank you.
Opposition, you have a minute as well.
Let me begin by saying that Carpe Diem is a word written in the walls of Harvard University, meaning that they are ready to change. So I'm here to change your mindset. Once and foremost, from the words of Nelson Mandela, he said that if you talk to people in the language they understand, goes into their mind. If you talk to them in their own language, goes into their heart. And I also, as a scholar, I'm ready to tell you that if you talk to people using demonstration, they'll follow your words, and this is the demonstration. From our many points, we have realized that environmental degradation has a little value. It is worth this, only 1 shilling. But we've given you quality points well substantiated, that is worth these notes. If you talk to people in the things that they know and something that they like money or value, they'll join you. My fellow colleagues, those your point is worth this, ours is worth this. Thank you very much as you join us. Carpe Diem.
Musingu High School again, Joseph, human encroachment, I love the example of River Mara, infrastructural development, we talked about the standard gauge railway, and I think all these are factors. When the bell goes, take a minute, not even a minute, take a couple of seconds to sum up what you're talking about. Don't leave the stage unceremoniously. Abdi, very well read again. But the problem is too much reading. So minimize on the reading, master your content, and the execution will be proper. Generally, what I'm saying is you're well-read, gentlemen. The problem simply was execution at one particular point. The same applies to Maxwell. The question was land degradation and political instability. I think the question was not properly addressed. You went to France, gave an example about France, but I think you could have just addressed the issue of political instability in Kenya because you're talking about a Kenyan context. Nonetheless, good presentation from the three of you. You can just improve on your execution where necessary.
Butula, we expected you to take your angle. Remember, we were talking about environmental degradation being the only reason why tourism is coming down. However, you had many factors that you gave in. Terrorism, you talked about relations, you talked about publicity and all that, which was good. But all of you, each of you came with the word, the main reason is this, and then you say that. Then another one comes with the main reason. So if there was a main reason, you should have stood by one. But we understand you give many factors. Then just come and say some of the reasons are this, all right? So you don't have to say, tell us a main reason, and we can't tell what it is. All the best to the teams.
To the numbers now. Musingu School, the judges awarded you 68%. Please give them a round of applause. Butula High School, the judges awarded you 74%, making you the winners.
Congratulations to the two teams for a spirited debate. We also thank you, our studio audience, for being active, and also our viewers back home. Stay tuned in, engage us on social media at Great Debaters EA for Twitter. I've been your host, Austin Nyambok.
And I'm Mariam Bishar. Thank you for watching.
The Great Debaters Contest 2016 registration is now open. Teachers or school administrations should register on www.greatdebaterscontest.com/register.